Throughout the course of the Pokémon video games, we have had numerous moments and plot twists that have given us quite a surprise and really contributed to our overall experience of playing them. Surprising moments are the core of what makes a game fresh, exciting, and unpredictable. Today I'm going to be joined by my friend SilphSpectre to help me explore some of these moments in the first of the Pokemon games that we all played back with Red and Blue.
What's going on, everyone? My name's SilphSpectre, and today I'll be helping out Ruffled Rowlet count down the top 10 most surprising moments in Pokemon Red and Blue. Keep in mind that this list was formed from our own individual experiences with the games, so if you have a moment that stood out to you but was not featured on this list, be sure to tell us about it down in the comments below. Without any further ado, let's dive into the top 10.
Now imagine battling your way through Silphco, taking grunt after grunt, taking on your rival, and finally, you have Giovanni left. And right when you think it's finally all over, you've defeated him, and everything is about to be finished off. You get rewarded, quite surprisingly, by the CEO of Silphco. And he gives you something in return, a reward that is quite surprising. It's an item that would allow you to catch a legendary Pokemon in a simple step of simply just throwing it and 100% guaranteed to get it. Simply, you got handed the Master Ball. Back in the day, receiving the Master Ball was such an amazing feat, and it was super satisfying. It was also very surprising because you've been going throughout the game getting these, simple Pokeballs and having a hard time catching certain Pokemon, and all of a sudden you get a Pokeball, a single one, that can catch anything. Guaranteed 100%. It would really surprise anyone back then to all of a sudden get it, and it was guaranteed, to catch your Pokemon. It was a 100% guaranteed catch rate Pokeball. So of course, anybody who got it was very surprised, because now you had a guaranteed easy path towards catching anything you wanted. Now, the discovery of this Master Ball was quite fantastic and very surprising to a lot of players, I would assume.
Now picture this. You're reaching the end of your journey through Victory Road. It's been a long, confusing, and perilous adventure through a massive cave, and at this point, you're getting frustrated and just want to get out of there. All of a sudden, you see an overworld sprite of what seems to be a bird Pokemon. Now, overworld sprites of Pokemon are not very common, and when they do appear, they're usually accompanied by their trainers. Out of curiosity as to what could possibly be going on here, you navigate your way towards the Pokemon only to find out that you were entirely unprepared. The overworld sprite, despite looking the same as a Pidgey's does, ends up being none other than the legendary bird, Moltres. For a strong majority of first-time players, this Moltres is actually the first legendary Pokemon that they encounter, because it's the only one that you must necessarily see in order to progress through the games. The other three are quite hidden and are only found if someone actively searches for it or goes deep enough into an optional area of the game to encounter. Needless to say, my first playthrough of this game was when I was a kid, and that resulted in me being so surprised at this legendary encounter that I was entirely unprepared and failed to catch it, which is why it takes spot number 9 on our list.
So imagine making your way finally into Saffron City. You look around to figure out where you need to go and what gym is next. And so you head over to the northeast part of the city and find something that doesn't really make sense to you. 2 gyms right next to each other. This was truly surprising at first, when seeing 2 gyms right next to each other was very weird and surprising of a thing to discover. Because so far in the game, you had been used mainly to, you'd mainly be used to 1 gym. Seeing 1 in a city or town was all you would usually get. And then discovering this weird moment of surprise of finding 2 gyms in a single city right next to each other as well was truly weird. And it must have caused a lot of, surprising feelings to the people who actually discovered it at first. And also, if you do play through the Heart Gold, Soul Silver games, and when you get to Kanto, you can actually see those gyms too again there. And the really funny part is, the one on the left looks like it's an old, torn-down version, and then the one on the right is the, upgraded version, so to say, which is really awesome. So this was a very surprising moment for myself. What was it for you guys? Was it a very surprising one? Was it very minuscule? What do you think about it? Let me know.
Our journey through Kanto took us through numerous cities and towns, and while it doesn't really feel like it when you're playing through Red and Blue for the first time, the journey is actually quite linear in nature. The adventure path is set up as a square of sorts, with the broad direction of the story taking us clockwise around it. By the time we end up finishing what we need to do on Cinnabar Island, we realize that the next place to go is probably north. And of course, what is north of Cinnabar Island? None other than Pallet Town. Now, I don't quite know why, but this surprised me big time as a kid. To think that Cinnabar Island was located south of where we started off our journey this whole time was mind-blowing, and unknowingly returning to Pallet Town from a different direction was surprising and almost nostalgic in a way. Perhaps this concept was so surprising because when we first start off our journey, the thought of going south from Pallet Town doesn't really occur to us since we don't have surf yet and don't even know that surfing is possible on our first playthrough. Of course, the reasoning for this loop back to Pallet Town is because our 8th and final gym battle is located just north of it.
So one of the things I always really loved with Red and Blue was the mansion journals. The fact that you had this spread out journal throughout this creepy mansion that described so many things to come was a really perfect setup for the first Pokemon movie as well. Having these journals describe Mewtwo and Mew and talk about them, it easily was a perfect foreshadow for parts of the movie, and honestly, is one of the best parts of Red and Blue. The fact that you got to experience this weird, mysterious story about Pokemon who you'd pretty much not heard anything about, and it will all lead to a bunch of craziness later on. And one of these, Pokemon mentioned was being Mew, and Mew ended up being something everyone wanted to catch eventually, which led to several rumors of it being behind a truck and several other weird things. Truly, these journals were a staple of Red and Blue, and were quite surprising when you first encounter them, as you enter this mansion, not expecting too much crazy stuff to happen, and all of a sudden you have these creepy, journals in this mansion, randomly, telling you about some weird, legendary Pokemon. Quite interesting, if I may say so myself. So that's the end of this video, guys. If you want to check out part 2, go ahead and check out it on SilphSpectre's channel, which is going to be linked down below right now. Part 2 is on his channel, so go check it out if you want to see the conclusion of this list. And if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future videos. Check out SilphSpectre and give him some love as well. Subscribe to his channel. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.